Welcome back. We're back here on Live Sports. It's been a little bit of time. It's been too long. Been doing strictly Auburn stuff, but I'm back on Live Sports. I'm Jake, obviously, here with Gio. Gio, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Happy to be joining you. Do a little home and home here. You come on my show, I come on yours, ready to talk some college ball. Best time of the year.
Yeah, let's get it. I'm sure you'll be on a little bit more. I mean, we're heading into break, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, college football, we're looking at some postseason action now. Top 25, the second to last rankings just came out as we head into conference championship weekend. Just running through the top 10 real quick. We got UGA still at number 1. They've kind of been steady there almost all year. Michigan at number 2, TCU at 3, USC at 4, followed by Ohio State at 5, Bama at 6, Tennessee, Penn State, Clemson, and Kansas State round out the top 10 in that order. And obviously there's 15 more teams, but we're really going to focus on those top 10 because I know there were some interesting things that happened in this past ranking. What did you see in that top 10? You got any takes for me? Any thoughts?
I got some takes for you. There are a lot of good. I think this year more than ever, we got a lot of good teams in this top 10. And now that's misleading, obviously, because it's the top 10. It should be a good list, but you look at teams like there normally aren't like 7 or 8 contenders out of the top 10. You look at teams like Tennessee, who's won big games, Clemson, who's even won big games despite their losses, and Penn State less so. But like Ohio State, even though they lost last weekend, they're still one of the best teams in the country, and so is Alabama.
I think normally we have like 6. There's 2 teams that get left out, and that usually sucks because they get left out. I know TCU's been at fault of that. They've been in that group. Bama's been in that group.
Texas A&M too. Like that one year,
A&M's been in that group. But this year, all the way down to that number 9 spot. Honestly, you could include Kansas State because they're going to get a crack at TCU in the conference championship. These top 10 teams are really, really, really strong. I just think number 1 is so far and away better than everyone else. But I think these 4 teams are going to stay. I mean, do you think there's a chance that a team like Ohio State or Alabama or maybe a team like Clemson hops into that 4 should one of these 4 teams lose?
It could. I mean, you look at last weekend, we can see how much can change in one weekend.
Yeah.
I think it would take TCU and USC both losing their games, obviously. You could see in Ohio State.
You think both?
I mean, I don't think both will lose it. I think both those teams will actually win. I think this this top 10 will probably stay as close to as it is now. But say that those teams did lose, you've got TCU out, you've got USC probably out. You're looking at Ohio State and maybe Alabama sneaking back into this playoff. I don't know.
But keep in mind, both of those teams don't play in a conference championship this weekend.
They don't have a chance to play.
Ohio State's sitting at home, Alabama's sitting at home, Tennessee's sitting at home, and Penn State's sitting at home. But then we look at number 9, Clemson, a 10-2 Clemson with 2 bad losses, 1 to Notre Dame and 1 to South Carolina. Shout out Trev.
Trev. Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it. Clemson, they're gonna have a crack at 23 ranked North Carolina, who's coming off of 2 atrocious losses.
But that's a good team. And you look, obviously the Tech loss is awful. We cover the ACC more up here. I go to BC. That Clemson has been very spotty as of late, but you look at what they did when they were 8-0, and look, they were down to Syracuse. I remember that game so vividly. They're down to Syracuse by 11 at halftime. They come back and they beat them. Will Shipley is a dog. So they got guys that are going to go in there and give them a fight down in Chapel Hill. And if they put on a show, you may just, to your point, Jake, you may just see them sneak in. If one of those.
I think that game's in Charlotte, so neutral site. Both teams are both fan bases are gonna travel. We know Clemson shows out at that ACC championship every year. It feels like Dabo always has them balling out. My gut feeling is Clemson's gonna go and put a statement win against UNC. I think Dabo is gonna prove all the haters wrong. I think DJ Ukulele, or however you say his name, is gonna put on enough of a show to pull out a win. I don't think he's in I mean, fake Death Valley next year. I don't think he's in Clemson next year. I think he's going to transfer out. But
it's probably.
I think this Clemson team's going to walk away with an ACC championship and somehow get left out of the playoff.
They might, and I think, to your point, it's Klubnik's job to lose next year. He played great against Syracuse. He didn't get enough opportunities this season. But, yeah, you may see Clemson win the ACC championship and then not get in, because if TCU and USC take care of business, you're not going to leave out a 12-0 conference champion. And Caleb Williams and the company have got some big wins. So, yeah, it's going to be hard
I
to
think
lose
for Michigan, TCU, and USC, it's win and you're in. Win and you're in, because the 4 teams outside looking in, none of them have a conference championship to look forward to.
You think Georgia, in the miracle that they lose to LSU, they lose that game and they're still I think I can see it. Yeah.
I do think there is a world in which LSU has a shot, just because of Brian Kelly and Jaden Daniels he's a dog. That team's hot right now. So, I mean, they're a scary team sitting at 9-3. They had a bad loss last week against A&M, kind of a shocker. That's the only reason they don't have a shot as a 10-2 team.
Exactly, they were right there. They had it.
Yeah, they had it. And should they have beaten A&M, and then should they have beaten Georgia, we'd be looking at a 2 SEC team playoff. There's no way you could leave out a SEC.
Exactly. That comes in and wins that game against that defense in Atlanta, which is basically their home turf. That would be very different scene from what we have right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. But that loss, Clemson's loss, kind of made this whole year 2022 a little bit easier for the committee. There's not as much controversy as there has been in the past. So I think this top 4 should stay the same. I could see TCU and USC flipping. I don't see Michigan losing to Purdue. TCU, Kansas State, huge game. TCU would have to beat Kansas State for the second time this season, which is really, really hard to do. I just think the Horned Frogs, to me, it kind of feels like it's destiny for them. They're 12-0, going into their conference championship, playing with their...
You better knock on some wood, Jake. You better knock on some wood. Those TCU fans, if they listen... They need this.
For the 0 TCU fans listening, I got you. So hammer the Kansas State money line, but no, I'm kidding. But I don't see any of these teams losing. So let's say it all stays the same. We got number 1 UGA taking on number 4 USC, and number 2 Michigan taking on number 3 TCU. Should those be the matchups heading into the playoff? Gio, who are we going to see in the finals in the college football playoff championship?
I think it's a race to play Georgia. I think that those matchups, I mean, as good as USC is, it's Georgia's to lose this year. That being said, you look at a potential Michigan TCU semifinal. Those are 2 very good teams and 2 very good quarterbacks that are playing off. I think J.J. McCarthy's a little more spotty, not as we saw in the Ohio State game. He was absolutely perfect. I think Michigan's got a little bit of an advantage just because of the defense. I think that their defense is a little bit better, and we've seen TCU in some tight games. Like, they had to beat Baylor on a relay field goal, which was one of the best
wins
I've
awesome,
ever
though.
seen.
Yeah, that was amazing. Clock expiring, rush the field goal unit, fire drill field goal.
That's a running clock.
That was awesome.
And they made it perfect. But you look at that, games like that, they've been in tight games this year. I think Michigan has got more big game experience, and I think that the Wolverines are going to be facing Georgia if that game actually happens. Close game.
And you remember what happened last year when Michigan played Georgia in the playoff?
No, Orange Bowl. Yep.
Yeah, what was it? What was it, the George Pickens meme when George Pickens looked the Michigan sideline, like shushed him, and then shoved over the cornerback?
I love that game. Yeah, that was.
I don't know that would be much of like a revenge game. This Georgia team, Stetson Bennett and UGA, they are rolling. As an Auburn Tiger, I really don't want to see them go back to back, but
no.
I don't see anyone stopping them. The only team out of the 3 that I think has a shot, honestly, is USC.
I think they do.
I think the USC offense, Jordan Addison and Caleb Williams and head coach Lincoln Riley, they're going to draw up some game plan and some scheme that is that I don't think many other college football teams are capable of. So we're going to see
maybe
a
except-
pro-style defense and a pro-style offense go head-to-head potentially. So I am pumped up for that game.
I don't know if it's statistically right, but this is probably the best defense versus the best offense in the country. I think without a doubt. I mean,
Yeah,
Lincoln
in
Riley's a
my
pro
eyes
coach.
for sure.
Yeah, Lincoln
And
Riley's
I
a pro
would
coach.
agree with that. Yeah, I don't know
I'd
if
say
that's
yeah.
true, but I'd agree.
Just on like what you see.
Yeah, the eye test. And then obviously we got the news today that the Rose Bowl is officially going to expand into the college football playoff, and we're going to see the college football playoff expand in 24-25 season. So obviously that's not this year and not next year, so we got a couple more years, but should that be the case this year? Let's take a look at the scenario that we'd see. So I think a team like LSU, who's ranked number 14, would be on the fringe, right? Should they get in, they're red hot outside of their last loss to A&M. So I think they'd be a scary team. We'd see Nick Saban make the playoffs pretty much every single year. We'd see a team like Dabo Swinney make the playoff every single year. So what are your thoughts on an expanded playoff as we head into a new era of college football?
Yeah, I'll say it again. I love it. I think it's a great idea when they introduce this. The sooner the better. It just, not only is it more football, you give more teams a chance to win, and if you do that enough, more teams will win. They will see more variation. You won't see the Georgias winning every year, the Alabamas winning every year, the Clemsons winning every year. And in teams that this year would be in, I think that you look at Utah, you look at Kansas State, Clemson, Penn State. I think that one team that will probably get in with LSU is Florida State. Jordan Travis has been balling out. And I think that the Seminoles have looked really, really good down the stretch. They avenged that. I mean, Florida State won in week 1, right? They beat LSU?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, on that missed extra point.
Yeah, but then they got into some rough patches, and then they have recovered they've looked amazing. So I think they're in too. And it would be I think it'd be a lot more fun, but we only got to wait a few more years for it, so it's coming.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, you kind of led right into my next question perfectly for me. I was going to ask if you think we'd ever see like a shocker national champion or some crazy stuff happen like in March Madness.
I mean,
the top four ranked conference champions would get a first round bye. So I think if I have it right, this year should all the favorites win, we would see UGA, Michigan, TCU, and USC all with first round byes. And then we would basically see bracket play from Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee, Penn State, Clemson, Kansas State, and Utah as the rankings stand right now.
Yeah, and then and you got teams in there that have won huge games, like I said, look at that 5, 6, 7.
I mean, you got your Clemson, you have Alabama, you have Ohio State, Utah's never been there, Kansas State's never been there, Washington's went there. They were in the playoff once.
The Jake Browning year. Whew.
Yeah. So we got some teams that know how to win those big games, who have been there, who have felt that, and know the deal. But yeah, I'm excited for an expanded playoff. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, I don't know about Boston College, but I do know that at some point in my lifetime, I will see an Auburn Tigers team that'll go to a playoff, and I'm excited for that day. I will be there in person, wherever my Auburn Tigers are playing. War Eagle to that.
Do you think they would? I don't think they would host at their stadiums. I think they do all neutral sites. But that'd be how cool.
I don't know. I don't care. But a playoff game right over there in Jordan-Hare would be the loudest place I have ever been in my entire life.
Ooh.
Well, that just about does it for Laz Sports this week. I mean, we'll be back kind of sporadically whenever. I kind of want to get to a point uploading almost daily or every other day. I think that'd be really, really fun getting y'all sports content relating to pretty much anything sports that either y'all find interesting, I find interesting, or anything fun. But yeah, you got anything, Gio?
Nothing now. Let's watch some football. Thanks for having me, Jake, and I guess War Eagle because we're not in it.
War Eagle. Peace, guys.
War Eagle.